And I want to bring in now Igor Novikov, who is the former advisor to Ukrainian President Zelensky, who is now in Ukraine right now. And Igor, you have your finger on the pulse of what's happening there and how people are feeling inside Ukraine as they're watching what's unfolding in Alaska today. What are you hearing from people on the ground?
Well, if I were a betting man, that would actually bet on Ukraine because we have no other choice, unlike Trump and Putin. So that's kind of my response to that. But, it's basically a case of cognitive dissonance. There's some hope, but I think the origin of that hope is actually the war fatigue because it's been going on for years. At the same time, people are too realistic and have seen enough not to expect too much from this meeting. The war will continue one way or the other.
Yeah, and you mentioned the war fatigue. A member of the Ukrainian National Guard told the Washington Post, quote, "I don't know a single person in my unit who wants to keep fighting." And a recent poll from Gallup is showing that 24% of Ukrainians want to keep the fighting until Ukraine wins the war. That's down from 73 in 2022. So morale is low here. What does winning the war look like for Ukrainians at this point?
I don't think there's such thing as winning this war for either side, to be honest, because what Putin wants, he wants the whole of the country and probably the subsequent restoration of the Warsaw Pact, so Eastern Europe as well. If you kind of noticed, his foreign minister is wearing a USSR jumper to the meeting in Alaska, which they think is funny, but we need to remind them what happened to the USSR and why, and that their economy isn't doing much better either at the moment. But at the same time, Ukraine kind of wants to restore its borders to their internationally recognized state from 1991. That doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. So I think, there's a certain kind of amount of stalemate here. And obviously, bad peace is better than good war.
Yeah, we mentioned the sweatshirt in our last hour. Russia has demanded that Ukraine give up land to end this war, as we've been discussing. If today's negotiations discuss carving up Ukraine in some way, with Russia taking Crimea, possibly Donbass and other places, is that something Ukrainians will live with?
Well, we kind of lived with the reality of Crimea being de facto controlled by the occupying state since 2014. So we have to be realistic about the cost of returning that land at the moment rather than later. Because, nothing's going to change too much until Putin's regime falls and is replaced. There's another condition, is replaced by a regime that has different views, because at the moment there's not much alternative in Russia. But once again, Ukraine is its people, its human lives. Land is secondary to that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you're outlining precisely why these are such high-stakes discussions today, especially for the Ukrainians. Igor Novikov, thank you very much for talking to us from Ukraine. We appreciate it.